What if I told you that there was a four-class model out there that was 10 times cheaper to build, maintain, and execute on? So ChatGPT 4 set the bar for models in 2024. It's since been surpassed by inference time compute models like O1, O1 Pro, O3, but it's still really, really good at a lot of different things. It's good at English, it's good at coding, it's good at math, etc. Well, there's now a new model. Instead of costing the 70 or $100 million that ChatGPT cost to train, similar cost for Claude, this model only cost $5 million, maybe five and a half. That is not that much. A lot of startups have $5 million. It's a lot for an individual, but a lot of startups have $5 million. And it's really amazing to see a world where we could actually envision individual startups being able to build their own models. And this is something that the makers of this model have chosen to open source. So it's something anybody can look at and say, how could I make it even better? Or how could I do it myself? And they've done a number of really interesting things throughout the model build process that they are revealing to the world. And I just want to highlight a couple. I'll share the paper in the description here. This is DeepSeek V3. It's very cool. So the training data was something they took a lot of care with. They did not do sort of the suck up the whole internet vibe that ChatGPT did. They actually had a very specific training corpus of very high quality tokens that they trained against. And they really, really reviewed it to make sure it was good at English, good at Chinese, good at math, and good at coding. And then they reinforced that carefully with human responses to ensure it was really, really accurate. And that gave them a lot of confidence during query time. So when you type in a query, it gave them confidence to actually predict more tokens ahead and be more efficient in their use of space. So even though this is a very large model, it's like 617 billion tokens, right? It's a very large model, large for a four-class model. Like it's not something that you would expect to be this efficient, is the way I'll put it. But they have figured out that you can use just a sliver of that total model space in the response, and it's about picking the right sliver. And so where other models like Meta's Llama or Claude or ChatGPT use the whole model space, this model only uses 37 billion parameters out of the 617 billion parameter model for any given response. And so it's about picking the right 37 billion, which sounds like a lot of parameters until you realize it's such a tiny percentage of the total in the model, and they're actually making very efficient use of compute. They're also able to predict more than one token ahead because they're so confident in their training data. And so instead of predicting only one token ahead, they're predicting two. And that's a really cool innovation. I expect to see other folks go after that as well. Now, they did some other cool things during the training phase. They had something called DualPipe, which I've tried to explain a couple of times on video. It's rather complicated. It basically amounts to being able to regurgitate and learn at the same time. And they had a special network set up to do that. They outlined that in the paper. I definitely recommend diving in for the details there. But from a strategic perspective, if we step back, what this really means is that models have gone from being something that are in the $100 million class, only a few startups could ever afford, to anybody can build this if they have startup level seed investment. That is a massive, massive shift. It is going to make more and more four-class models available, and it's going to be yet another driver in this overall strategic theme of four-class intelligence becoming essentially free. They've open sourced this model. Anybody can use it right now, and anybody can replicate it right now. So if you think about it, we now have a world where four-class models are becoming free, and the cutting edge is in inference time compute. And these models don't really use the multi-threaded, multi-token prediction that inference time compute has, where you type in a query and it runs lots and lots of different next token prediction threads and finds the best one. Now, that may get open source next year, right? Like the pace we're going at, we may well see a model like that get open source next year. But for now, that is the model and that is the edge that ChatGPT has in the space. Nobody else really has that kind of inference time compute yet. Lots of people are working on it. And the four-class models, like Claude Sonnet 3.5 or 3.6, like ChatGPT 4.0, those are rapidly getting replicated. Cost is driving to zero. It's a massive achievement. And I will grant you, it is easier to innovate than it is to replicate. So getting to the first ChatGPT 4 may well have cost $100 million no matter how you did it because it was the first time. But replicating it turns out to be very, very efficient. and very, very affordable, relatively speaking. And that has huge implications because it means that intelligence is going to be more and more and more free for a lot of different applications that matter in business. So we will see. But right now, a $5 million model is beating 4.0 and Sonnet 3.5 at a lot of the things that people really use these models for, like English, like math, like coding, etc. So there you have it. DeepSeek V3, new 4-class model champion. Cheers.